What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day as always. So in today's video, we're going to go over my brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee failing inspection for a lot of stuff. All this gray area right here by my thumb is work that we declined, which is essentially the work that needed to be done to make it pass. It's a pretty long list, I'm not going to lie to you. And I'll go ahead and let you guys know the number of the quote we got to fix it all was $4,300, which is much more than we paid for the car. I paid $3,200 for it. So in today's video, we're gonna go over the entire list, why it failed. I'll show you some of the issues on the Jeep so that way you guys get a better idea. And then I'll let you guys know what we're gonna do about it. And we're actually gonna start building this thing soon, so I have the solution ready. So let's go ahead, we'll head outside. I'll show you guys the Jeep, show you what's up with it. We'll go over this list and go from there. All right, so here's the Jeep that failed. And I'll go ahead and start with the easy stuff to see. So, for example, the front tires obviously need replaced. That's not actually a huge issue because behind the shed, I have like 12 sets of tires for WJs from having that one. So we'll go ahead and replace the 2 tires that need replaced. That's not a huge issue. Let me go ahead and go over the rest of this list. So valve stem, tire rotation, tire mounting, balance, all that stuff would be packaged in with the tires that we'd be buying. I'm not going to be buying those since I have some. I need an alignment. Then we also need the rear brake pads. And then one side, I'm not sure which side yet, since I haven't really looked. It might be this side, it looks pretty grooved up. We need another rotor on the back here, so also not a huge deal. I think I have an extra set of those also from having that Jeep. That one broke so much. We have a ton of new parts. One thing that kind of confused me was they wanted to do a full fluid change on the front and the rear axle. I'm not really sure why or anything like that. The fluid looked really good before we took it and everything, so I don't think that's really an issue that I'm going to address right now. And realistically, when these axles blow up, I'm building the 1-ton axles to put under it so we can make it bigger than the Wrangler that's behind it. You guys can really see how much bigger the Wrangler is from this point of view than the Grand Cherokee. Let's move down the list some more. So they said drive shaft. Apparently the front CV joints, you're not really gonna be able to see it. The Jeep's so low and I can't really get under there. But you guys that have Grand Cherokees know what I'm talking about with the front CV joints on these things. They blow out all the time. Getting custom Adams drive shafts, just like the Wrangler has. I'll show you those. These things have taken a beating. You can actually see on my front one where I've hit a rock with it, and the axle shafts, or the drive shaft's fine. We got a front and rear axle shaft. So we're gonna be installing the same thing on the Grand Cherokee. That won't really be a big issue. I have to get those anyway. I'm gonna need front left and front right axle shafts. So those are the CV boot ones. I'm going to assume without even looking, yeah, so the CV boot is torn. I would assume the other side is the exact same way. Not really too big of an issue. Easy enough to swap out. What else? Rear upper suspension ball joints. So I guess we need ball joints. Not really sure what's up with that. I mean, we have to take everything apart to replace some of this other stuff on the list anyway. So I'm not too worried about it. We'll be able to inspect everything more in depth once we get it all torn apart. Now we'll move on to the next page of issues. So rear lower suspension control, I would assume control arm. Probably the bushings are bad on it, so they want the whole thing replaced. I'll go ahead and do that. I actually have a full stock suspension off the black one back in the shed back there. So we'll just go ahead and whip some of those parts out, I guess, if we absolutely need it. Rear upper suspension control arm, repair exhaust. He did say it has an exhaust leak, which kind of sounded like it did. Not sure what we're gonna do about fixing that, or if we're really gonna fix it, honestly. Because once I put the lift kit we have sitting in the garage on it, we're gonna need a custom exhaust to clear all that anyway. Then we got the exhaust labor. That's not really gonna be anything for us. And then we have all the little exhaust parts, such as the muffler clamp, muffler, tailpipe, all that stuff. Then we have a bunch of like waste disposal fees on here, which obviously we're just gonna save the parts for next time. Another small thing that was wrong with it is the third brake light is out. Also not really a huge issue. It'll take 5 minutes to replace. I probably already have the bulb for that. So I came back inside where it's less windy, so you guys can actually hear everything perfectly well. I don't have my camera right now, so I'm recording on the phone. If it does look a little different, we're using the cinematic mode on the iPhone 13, so it's a little bit different, but let me know how you guys like it down in the comments. But here's the actual inspection report. So this will show you everything we passed and failed. So the P is pass, F is fail, and then R is for repaired, as if we had them repair it. So we passed actually a lot. Rear wheel alignment, which I'm assuming that is under the category of that seal that needs to be replaced, and that's just the closest category. Ball joints, we failed. Shock absorber struts, we passed. Spring suspension components, which would be the control arms, failed. Muffler fail, any piping fail. Wheels and tires right front failed. Actually, from the looks of this, looks like we might just need one tire. They told me two, but I'll go ahead and replace both front ones just because I have the tires available. Brakes, the mechanical linkage. He said the rear brakes, the linkage needs to be tightened up or something, so I'll take a look at that. Backup lighting and the stop lighting, which I'm assuming is both the third brake light. And besides that, the front axle shafts would be probably the constant velocity ones that are the drive shaft. I'm not really sure. Both of them need replaced, so it doesn't really matter which one's which. But as you guys can see, there is a lot wrong with the Jeep. Well, it's like a weird situation because there's a lot wrong with it, but we're ripping everything out of it and replacing it anyway. So I don't want to dump a ton of money into it, replacing parts that I'm going to take off literally a week later and then put on the new lift kit and everything. I also asked them about that. If I could throw the lift kit on, it would pass. The guy there seemed to be real strict on passing stuff like that, and he would not let me put the lift kit on. So my plan now is I actually forgot that it would be able to be registered as historic in Maryland since it's over 20 years old. So my plan now, registered as historic, we'll get the historic plates. That will limit how much I can drive it, but not that much really, because I'm not going to daily drive this Jeep realistically. I'll drive my Wrangler or the other Grand Cherokee. This one's not going to be practical at all. It'll be worse than the Wrangler. So I'll be able to drive it to like parades, club events, stuff like that. I can't daily drive it or just drive it for the fun of it, but that's not really an issue. I mean, it's a rock crawler. I'm not going to be daily driving it anyway. It's going to be on 43s when we're done. I mean, that's going to be terrible to drive on the road. And then we'll go ahead and run the historic, which means it doesn't have to be inspected. So I won't have to fix that stuff since we're replacing it anyway. We'll just upgrade it and replace it later down the line and get everything set up. So I actually did have to fill out some paperwork to do that. So we'll go ahead and do that today. And then I'll get the tags. And actually my plan is to start installing the lift kit mid next week, somewhere around there when I have more free time. Hopefully get it done by the weekend. So you'll see a ton of videos installing that. Huge shout out to the guys over at Iron Rock Off-Road for hooking it up with the lift kit. Super pumped to be running that. Can't wait to see the end result. And then we have the 35-inch radar tires. We'll go ahead and throw those on the old Wrangler wheels. I'll put some pictures of all that stuff up on screen for you guys to check out. But once that's done, my plan is to drive it a little bit. Drive it like to a couple meets or something so I can drive it on the road legally and everything like that. Make sure everything's working as should. Everything's set up correctly before I go ahead and do the rest of the 1-ton swap. Once the lift's under there and everything, it's honestly about time to start really working on the 1-tons. I picked them up like 2 months ago and really haven't put a ton of work into them. I cut off some brackets and stuff like that. But it's almost time to start that, so you guys will start seeing some more videos on that. I also am considering doing a sort of a rebuild on the black Grand Cherokee. So as you guys know, that was originally going to be the one we put the tons under, but there was just a couple things wrong with it that I didn't really feel like fixing. So we went ahead, bought the blue one, and I still have the black one. I'm not going to sell it. It's not really worth anything. So my plan is to make it like an overland build, leave it on the 4-inch lift, leave it on the 32s, rooftop tent, some stuff like that. So let me know if you guys would like to see some overland content with the Grand Cherokee as far as building it, using it, going camping maybe, stuff like that. I think it'd be a really fun build, different build. My Wrangler's a rock crawler. This Grand Cherokee's gonna be a rock crawler. I don't really need a third one. The Wrangler will honestly probably turn into more of a show Jeep. I'm still gonna leave it built. Don't worry, I'm not putting like mall crawler wheels or anything on it. But we're probably not gonna be beating it up as much if I have the Grand Cherokee to destroy off-road. It's just a lot cheaper to fix the Grand Cherokee. But now you guys know why my Jeep failed. You guys saw the long list. You guys know what we're gonna do with it, the plans. Figured I owed you guys like a little update video since it's been a couple weeks since I uploaded that I bought it, and some modifications we did. If you guys didn't check out those, make sure you check them out. We installed the Najara off-road interior LED kit, all the lights on the roof basically when you open the doors, and then we installed the dash LED kit. I really like both of those kits. They turned out great, and I really like driving the Jeep a lot more now that I can actually see the dash. I had a ton of lights out before, so that really helped me out. They were originally intended for the black Jeep, but you know, we got the other one and it needed them more. And then the LED interior lights are sick because at night when you open the door, it lights up all the ground around it and everything like that. So go ahead and check those videos out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.